Hello, heroes! Thank you all for tuning in to episode 26 of the Nexus podcast. I am your host, Adam Eastwood, and this week we have with us our lore-loving, time-altering gamer, David Troy.
Hi, everybody. It's Davemas Eve today. We celebrate Davemas. My birthday tomorrow, so I'm very excited. This will be the last time in my life I'm this particular age. But I will always remember when I was this age. To quote Tom.
You know, it's funny, this is my last podcast in my 20s.
Whoa.
Because on Monday I will be 30. I will be old. We have the lifestyle geek himself, Joshua Williams.
Good evening, Ben, Adam, and David. I hope you guys are just as excited as I am to be here tonight.
You broke it.
I broke it?
Yep, they don't know Ben's here yet because we're just about to announce him. So you broke the fourth wall.
Spoiler alert, yeah.
Well, considering you already ruined it, we have Blizzard and esport enthusiast Ben Blazik.
Good evening, my friends. Chat room. It's a pretty good Friday to be here. We have lots to talk about, and it's a nice little holiday weekend. So hopefully everybody will get in. Who's actually in Alpha will get in plenty of game time. For those who are not, we feel your pain, and hopefully you'll join us in some streams.
Mm-hmm. We've definitely all felt that pain at some point. Some longer than others. Ben, you're in the game. We're still making fun of you for not being in the game at some point.
Yep. Saw that coming
with us. Okay, so we're gonna kind of hit quick what we've been doing in games so far this week. David, what this game, other games, what have you been up to?
Well, continuing to raid with my raid team, Salad Senate, on Airy Peak. One thing that Murky trailer did, though, it really made me examine, my role in World of Warcraft and what I've done. I'm sitting there, questioning things now. We're fighting Paragons of the Claxi. I'm thinking, Zeril of the Poison Mine, this guy could have like 1,000 kids. Am I orphaning them by killing them? It's just really making me, think about, that quote, beware those who fight monsters, lest ye become a monster.
Wow, you're taking a little
too
much
to
heart.
Too. But I played some heroes as Murky, dishing out vengeance upon all those who have hurt Murlocs.
And Ben, what have you been up to lately?
Kind of a mixed balance between been playing Arcage and been playing Heroes of the Storm, trying to keep my best Uther NA title. But not as much Heroes as I wanted to. I kind of slacked a little bit this week, but I'll be picking it back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're only level 28.
Sorry, man. I'm closer to that 40 game win mark on Uther than you are.
Yeah, no, that's gonna shoot you like 2-3 levels.
As I'm instantly gonna get 2 levels as soon as I do it. So
yes, that's pretty cool. Josh, what games have you been playing?
Besides Heroes of the Storm, obviously, I started getting back into Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I know it's older, but the past Game of Thrones is like, you know what? I miss Skyrim, so I went and started a new character in there and been having a blast. So basically just that and Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, me, it's been Heroes, a bunch of Heroes. I'm pushing for 40. I saw David caught up to level to me, so I had to go ahead and get up a level before we started the show. So
I noticed that as well.
So that happened, and World of Warcraft, playing some games there as well. Raiding with a solid team, in first time in a couple of months. So I'm not ready to shoot myself every raid night. So we're only raiding once a week, so I get a little bit more time to do other things on my Thursdays, which is nice. Which has been Heroes, because I want to get to 40 because I have a feeling they're going to wipe at some point in the semi-near future, in the next month, I say.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to get right into the news. Obviously, for those of you who are paying any attention, 2 big things there this week: Murky Week and the patch. Now, this patch was huge, so we're going to kind of get right into the patch as Murky Week. We're going to talk about a little bit later as we spotlight Murky as our hero spotlight this week. So the first thing, kind of when you look into the patch notes, we're just going to kind of work our way through them, is the user interface changes. The first thing that they pointed out, you can now rejoin games. David, what do you feel about rejoining games?
Boy, does this suck. No, I mean, it's good that they've added it. It's just the functionality. I did actually have this happen to me today, so it's a little bit fresh. basically you get bounced out of the game. You can log out and come back in. It doesn't let you do anything except go back into the game that's in progress, which is good for those quitters who want to just start a new match. It doesn't really give them any type of advantage to quit the match and start another one. The problem is for those of us who aren't quitting on purpose and are just having bad internet connection. Essentially, you come back in and then you get a little screen saying, "You will thanks for coming back. You will rejoin the game in a few minutes." And I'm like, "Few minutes? That's not really going to help a whole lot, considering I've probably lost a minute or two already." And to come back, which for me was about 6 minutes, and by the time I got in was just basically seeing the other palace explode. So clearly, there's nothing wrong with AI Murky, but I think it needs to be a little bit faster to rejoin the game for it to really be effective.
Mm-hmm. I haven't rejoined the game yet, so I didn't realize that there was that much of a delay. I had figured that it was pretty much you logged in, they put you back in the game, you were good to go.
It actually says the text itself says it'll take a few minutes, which I mean that's great and all, but I don't think that's really going to help a whole lot. By that time, the game could easily be lost.
Or won.
In my case, yeah.
Ben, have you experienced anything with this at all? What are your thoughts that it's finally gotten into the game?
I'm really glad that it's in the game because, as every other MOBA should be, people who quit out of the match should not have the option to start another one. They should be forced to either not play or help finish out the other match. I've been noticing a lot of weird stuff. It's a patch, it's alpha, so of course we're going to see weird stuff. That's a given. But a lot of people quickly disconnecting then reconnecting at the start of the match. I had one game today. I was Tychus, and we loaded into the match. I apparently was the only person to load in. All 9 other players disconnected and then tried to reconnect, and they couldn't reconnect in time, so it awarded me the win.
Oh, nice.
Good job. You scared them.
There you go.
They knew they were messing with someone from the Nexus.
And kind of, Josh, kind of go with it. Now they actually have the inactive player removal. Have anybody been inactive since the patch for you?
In the matches I've played, I haven't had anyone go inactive.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't say I've seen anyone go inactive or anything like that since then. I say give it by the end of the weekend you'll get those chumps in there that do that or try to do that. But as of right now, at this moment, I haven't had anything. How about any of you guys? Have you?
I haven't had it yet, but I've that's only during the patch. I've had it before when it happened. And it's nice now if there are no game commands for 150 seconds during the match, they will receive the warning via the in-game chat, and then they have 30 seconds to do something. Otherwise, they return to the hero's login screen. So I think it's something that is helpful as a team because then you get that computer run AI, and you can actually have a chance at the game. Because I really don't think the computer run AI is that bad, actually. At this point, I think it plays pretty well.
No, they're pretty good at supporting it. At least if they can't, be like a full-blown killer, they will at least support you.
Mm-hmm. The only problem is you can't direct where they go. I wish if you have the AI and you drop a warning down, they go to that warning, because then it's like reading it. It's like, oh, there's a warning. I should probably be in that spot at this point. Almost kind of a little bit of a directed AI.
Or you could even say, push this lane or attack in this area.
Right, yeah, but I mean, as simple as the warning system is, it does say, hey, I want to attack this turret, and I want to retreat and stuff like that. So we'll see. But I guess the biggest problem would be if everyone's clicking the map and doing different things. Who does it follow?
Yeah.
True. So, anybody? Anybody? Wow. So the changes in matchmaking. I think these rules have worked out. I have not seen any of these problems happen. You can no longer have more than 3 warriors in a group, unless you custom build a group of 5. You can't have 3 melee heroes. No more than 4 assassins. No more than 2 supports or 2 specialists will automatically get put together, unless it's taking an exorbitant amount of time for them to be put together as a team. Then it'll start breaking the rules as needed. I think the best one of all 5 rules is you don't get 3 melee heroes put into the same game. Because I've seen games where you're all melee and the other team's 4 ranged, and you just get eaten alive.
Yeah.
That's absolutely a really good one. I'm a huge fan of this. The only thing it doesn't solve yet, it's gonna be really hard to with just the normal verses, and hopefully we'll see some variation when we go into like ranked play and so on. But it doesn't solve the whole. If we get 3 assassins, 1 specialist, and 1 support, we still don't have anyone who's meaty that can like kind of get up there and initiate and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. You basically have to kill someone before, before they can do anything. You have to kill either their assassin so that way they can't kill you, or you have to be somehow burn down their tanky character. I think when it comes into like a ranked play, the more I think about it, the more I think that they're gonna have to do something where you have to at least get your team together before you hit players, even if it's all random, and be like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because this random stuff in ranked play as it runs now, I don't think it's gonna fly.
Yeah, no, you really, I mean, try not to reinvent the wheel here or copy everyone else, but I mean, there's a reason why other MOBAs in ranked mode have draft, because it works, and that's kind of like the direction that definitively works for this genre of games. Even though we're calling it a hero brawler, it still fits. So,
and I know we've had the discussion before about whether or not you should know the map or not, and whether we know the map or don't know the map, at least being able to talk with your teammates before picking, I think it'll be the necessary part in terms of matchmaking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it needs. We're talking about ranked play, I think you need to be a pre-made team. I mean, I've said that before. I think it's really important. I made the argument before that you shouldn't know the map, but I think you should at least have the flexibility to choose who you've got. And then, I mean, the thing is, the talent system's also flexible enough, whereas you can say, hey, we're picking these 5 heroes, but that doesn't mean, we have to follow the same talent tree. Certain maps like Cursed Hollow, maybe you want a little bit more, hero killing ability rather than laning or, demolitionist or merc grabbing kind of thing. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in terms of the rules, the one rule that I thought was kind of funny was no more than 2 support on a team. Is that to stop it from being just too overpowered? Because I feel like whenever I got like 4 or 5 support on a team, the team did pretty well. I wonder if they're trying to, like, that rule's in there to kind of stem the everyone go support as part of like a random group. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it has to. Well, I don't know. From my opinion on that is that they want it to at least have the ability to add damage in there. I mean, some supports are pretty good at damage, and then others are not. But you don't really, at least not often. It's very rare that you'll get a random generation inside versus where you have 4 or more supports. Usually if you have 4 or 5 supports, it was a pre-made most times. So me personally, I feel like that's more geared towards we need to make sure there's damage on the team, so we should only limit it to 2 supports, so that way at least assassins will get into the group.
Yeah, for sure. And next up, quick casting. We talked about this for a little while last week. It's in the game. You have 3 options. It's either off, it's on, or it's on release. The main difference between on and on release is on is when you click the button it casts. On release is when you let go of your button it casts. I like the on release. I'm glad that they have that in there because that's, I believe, how you can actually cancel it. You can press it and don't release and right click. I forgot that it was in there when I was playing, so I forgot to turn it on to check out, see how it worked. I played Illidan a little bit, and I think that'll be helpful as Illidan a ton. I know you guys, all 3 of you, were against quick casting, if I remember. So none of you, I assume, have tried it out at all.
I haven't tried it. Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, that was basically my answer. Nope, I haven't tried it.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't tried it, but I was thinking some heroes I'd like to do it. Like, again, we're going to get into them a little bit more, but I think Murky's perfect for this. Someone like Nova, maybe not so much, but I think anyone where a lot of their abilities are kind of just drop something on the ground or just like really quick, just hit this or splats out of you or wherever it works. That's, I think quick cast would actually be good for them, but for other ones, I want a little bit more control, especially around aim.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just going to kind of move on right from that. We've We've exhausted that topic, I think, last week. Now, the in-game UI, I think this is one of the biggest changes, and it makes it feel more like a completed game. Like before, I was like, you know what, this looks like a completed game. Now it's like, man, why is this game not out? It looks stunning at this point. Ben, what are your thoughts of the in-game UI?
All right. I like the direction that they're going. I don't think we're there yet. It's definitely a lot more sleek and it's a little bit more professional. It looks better. I have problems with where the objectives are showing up. I mean, this just could, be that I need time to get used to it. But I don't like how the map objectives are on the right-hand side instead of at the top. I do like how the team levels are at the top. It's a pretty nice addition. Improvements to, when people die, that's pretty good. The map, hit or miss, I'm undecided on how I feel about it. Something that I was noticing when I was flinging my map across the screen and trying to go somewhere, sometimes I'm overlapping into the map and I'm instead sending my guy to the top of the map instead of the bottom right area. It could just be me. I'm not used to it, but I have a love-hate relationship with it right now.
Love-hate.
Are you talking about the mini-map, Ben?
I'm talking about just the entire overall user interface. But the mini-map is now, it's no longer a box. It's now, boom, it's kind of like a layer on your screen, which it looks good. I'll give them credit on that. I don't know how I feel about the whole it being a layer instead of a box, and they were talking about how they wanted that screen region down there to be available so you could see somebody coming up at you. You can make arguments for and against that. Personally, I would like to see an option, or I would like to maybe just have the old one back and the ability to reduce my UI size so that way I don't know, when I fling my mouse over there, I'm hitting it too much, as opposed to before I knew that the minimap was right there, and so I wasn't trying to click in that bottom region of my screen.
Got it. So basically, when you're going to use the extra space that they're giving you, you're instead of moving in that direction, you're actually clicking the top or the side of the map, so that way now you're moving to where on the map you were clicking, not where on the screen region
Correct.
you're clicking. Okay, that makes a lot more sense to me. At first I was a little confused.
Yeah, I was butchering how I was saying it, but you got it.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
Right, I'm kind of giving myself a week because I think, sort of to what Ben said, is that I've gotten so comfortable with the old one that, it's just the human nature. You see change, it's kind of like, I don't know if I like this. I mean, it does look more slick. I feel like everything's kind of like everything except the main battles map feels a little big. Like, it feels a little intrusive. Something about the old one, I felt a little like I guess it just I was able to see more of the map. I know it's kind of counterintuitive to what they were talking about, and maybe because everything looks so much better, it's catching my eye now. Whereas the old stuff is kind of just background noise a little bit. So
you're like, ooh, shiny. Oh man, I died.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, oh wow, that's my picture. Cool. It's man, shadow spike. It's. I'm gonna give myself some time to get used to it. I have run into some performance issues on my PC since the patch, so I think that's coloring my view at the moment. I could use less shinies and more just and less shinies and less lag, to say that. So, but I mean, that was something I experienced when I first got into alpha, and so with this big a patch, I would expect that there would be some issues. It is technical alpha; that's what we're here to test. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the jury's out right now. It looks good. I'm sure I'll like it when I come around to it. But right now, I'm still just feeling it out.
Still just feeling out, Josh.
That's my wishy-washy answer.
Josh, what about you? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, something you guys will find out about me if you haven't found out already. I'm a huge Blizzard fanboy, so basically anything they do, I think is perfect. I think I like it a lot. I think it's clean and crisp. There is one little thing I would like to change, which you both touched on, is I wish I can scale down the UI like you can in World of Warcraft, because I do feel like the icons and stuff are a bit too big, and I wish you could just slide a little slider and just make the icons smaller, because I do have that issue where I click on the map as well, the mini map. And as we know, once we go and click on the mini map, because I hit A and I click A and just go back and forth as auto attack basically. If I accidentally click on a map, my hero is going to run to that spot, and I'd like no, and it's killed me a couple times because how big the map is up in the corner there. But overall, I really am liking the direction that they're going. Of course, we all know this probably is not going to be the last UI change. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I think it's feeling more like its own standalone game now instead of a mod. It's getting me excited for the future for sure.
I got two things to tag with Josh on that. Number one, I do agree. I feel like the overall UI it's bigger, and I know they were kind of going for smaller, but it came out bigger, so that needs to be scalable. Secondly, though, Josh, about what you said about Blizzard, so I was just curiosity here. So if they put a pink dress on Thrall and made him shoot rainbows and hearts at everybody, you would be okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds like a Diablo.
You know they would never do that,
That's
but
obviously lore appropriate.
we now know the first skin for Thrall when he's in the game.
Ben, you're hired.
Now, for me, there was three things that really caught my eye that I really liked. The first being the fact that you can choose your talents with 1 through 5. I like how they added that. I was talking about that last week, that I want to be able to quickly click on it, so that way I can, not have to like move my mouse over, click on it, and come back. The kind of negative to that is I don't like how big the talents are at this point. It takes up way too much of the screen in order to choose it, and I can't seem to find where they said there's like the mini one where once we want to pick, they just are there. I don't know if they did put that in yet, or if I'm just dumb and can't find it.
I don't like the fact that like I've got to click on it to see it. Like it's basically I've missed it a couple times that talents were available.
Yeah, which it just popped up automatically up in rec.
It's a little too big too.
Yeah, too big, and you have to click on it. I want the little one because I know once I play a hero a couple times, I know which ones do what, and you just kind of get an idea from Demolitionist does the same for everyone. I want to get it to that smaller version right away. Yeah. Now, I'm also in terms of the opening, when you first sign in, I really like the looking for party that they added. If I don't know if you guys have used it yet, but you can just instantly find a group of people to play with, so you get your friend bonus and you get the extra 50% XP. There really is not a time where it doesn't make sense to do it.
True.
If you don't have any friends on, play with people that are looking, and you're good.
Yeah, I really liked that as well. I thought that was a great addition.
The other thing is just the overall look I like in general. I like the shiny, and as they put in the general option, hexagons. They've added a ton more hexagons.
Yeah.
And
man, it's next gen. It's like 2014 hex everywhere.
Yes, and for those of you who are listening and not watching, head over to YouTube real quick and see that I went and I stole hexagons from the game, and I put them around us because they like their hexagons. So I figure, hey, we want them too.
I love how in the patch notes they've even got a whole bullet point just hexagon.
Right. Yeah. It's because they just everything became a hexagon. Anything that wasn't is now a hexagon. It's. I wonder why they chose a hexagon over maybe like a dodecagon or something like that.
Complicate things.
Man, I want 12-sided everything.
As long as the hexagons don't get sued by the Magic and Gathering of Gons.
True. Wow.
Oh man. Next up, we have a ton of new sound effects, musics, everything. It's all been changed.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just a little bit different. Any of them stand out for you, David, in terms of music?
Yes, it's the voiceover when someone has left the game and then returned to the game and then left the game and then returned to the game and then left the game and returned to the game. That was the very first one I noticed because I'm like, oh my god, this is annoying as hell. I hope this is the way it's going to be. It's kind of a little bit cooler. I kind of missed the old pirate guy. I like the old pirate guy. I thought it was pretty cool.
I haven't played the pirate guy yet. What's is it just a different voice?
It sounds a little bit different. That was the game I kind of got knocked out of, so I only caught him at the beginning to hearing him tell me who was leaving the game and then returning to the game. But he sounded a little bit different, or it's a different pirate. I'm not sure. Yeah, I definitely even the lobby music sounds like a lot more polished. and a lot less kind of generic '80s montage
Yeah.
than they had before. So I think it's pretty good. I haven't really picked up on any of the Warcraft themes that I know, Ben, you were talking about them.
Those were the old themes. I was in there today, and I actually did not hear them at all on any of the matches that I played. So I think they got rid of them. But those were the old themes.
Oh, I guess I never noticed them.
Yeah, they had like Karazhan, for the Cursed Hollow?
No, it's Haunted Mines.
Haunted Mines. There you go.
They also had the Trio of the Crusader sound from the Mosaic album, which is a great song.
So, yeah, I mean, new sounds are always fun. I play with my sounds a little lower than I think most people do, because usually we're trying to like talk when I'm playing with friends. So I miss objectives because of it. Like I need to be better at that, because those are helpful. Like especially like playing like the specialist heroes lately. I find that I've been paying like little attention to map objectives. I kind of zone too much. So I don't know. I probably need to mess around with my sound settings in general. When it comes to the game. We have a few more changes to the shop.
Actually, hold on. I want to see if I'm the only one that feels this way. All right, so the announcer is a female voice, and it has been for some time. Does anyone else feel like the new announcer is like a middle-aged school teacher that's just like really boring, as opposed to the old one was kind of like maybe like a late 20s, early 30s seductive kind of, hey, I'm like a legit announcer.
Like the old announcer had glasses on, but like twirled her hair and took them off.
The little ponytail, and this one's just kind of like somebody got an objective and she laughed, and I'm just like, really?
She's mocking you, Ben. Mocking you.
I'm not digging the new announcer at all, and they got rid of the notifications that people die. Like they don't say that anymore. So if somebody dies, it doesn't say allied killed or enemy player killed. It's just silent. Other than like
a big banner across your screen, so if you miss it,
it flashes that, but I don't pay attention to that. I just listen to like everything through my headset, and I'm just like focusing on like killing someone, and I like anytime somebody dies, I hear it, and I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. But now it's like I have to actually look for. You hear like a little ping sound or something, but it's not an actual notification that somebody said it. But other than that, not Arthas, but Uther actually sounds like he's hitting somebody in the face with a mace now, instead of punching a little paper book.
And Murky farts.
Yeah, I laugh every time. Every time.
We were playing, and Ben goes, "Did you just fart?"
I mean, I think to what Ben was saying, I think hopefully by the time the game is released, all that stuff will be customizable. So Josh can have his banners, and you can have your sounders, and everybody's happy, kind of thing. I mean, I would assume that would be something that kind of like what you can do with Deadly Boss mods, right? In WoW. That you can really customize it.
It's funny. And kind of going back real quick. All these changes happening, and I think the thing that I found the most funny, and Ben might have found the most funny, because you can tell we're all guys. We're like, he farts.
What's he been eating?
Yeah.
That's the thing to take away from this patch. Yeah. Someone new farts.
But how can Murky fart and not Stitches?
I don't know.
That's Stitches fart.
That's like a power of his.
Stitches sounds like he does a little bit more than fart, though.
And we digress into junior high. No.
Yep. We're going down a dark rabbit hole here.
That's it.
So, in terms of the shop, it looks pretty much the same. There's no real big changes. We did get the Grunty Murky skin and the Stormlord Falstad skin.
Yes, he looks awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
I almost bought it. I don't even play Falstad.
I'm gonna start. So you're gonna see that coming out.
Awesome.
And the new bundles. What do you guys think of the new bundles? Obviously, I don't think they're as cost effective as the previous bundles. I mean, you're not getting any mounts, and you're only getting one or two skins with one hero rather than multiple heroes. Do you think they're just trying to see how much money they can get from each type of bundle at this point, and just be like, okay, we made this much money with these bundles, this much money with these bundles, which ones are we gonna go with in the end?
Yeah, I say it's like that. They're testing the waters to see which bundles the players are buying more of. I think these bundles are pretty cool, and But I think the older bundles, like you said, I think those are probably going to be the bundles that they stick around with, at least for the first month or two of them launching this game, so people can get into it and buy all those big bundles, and then start releasing these little packs as the time goes on when new characters come out. I think these new ways that they are with the heroes and the skins, I think those are going to be probably the later way that the shop will go. So once Heroes comes out, they can just make a bundle of the hero and the new skin. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like when the hero first comes out, it's a 25% discount on the hero and their initial skin, kind of like they do in League of Legends right now. You know, I think what they're also looking at is how much money people spend outside of the bundles, while these are the current bundles, to see if, you know, the overall look of it. It's pretty cool how they do like the elite one where they give you the multiple skins, like 2 skins instead of just 1. Have any of you guys purchased any of these bundles yet?
Well, certainly not me, Adam, because as you know, I don't purchase anything. I mean, I found this a little curious, to be honest, to do this before White, just because, I'm not sure what they're testing. Because for one thing, it's kind of a self-selected group. You know, everyone in the alpha is obviously very pumped for this game. I don't think it's really going to tell them a whole lot in terms of how the average player, you know, when it's released, is gonna buy it. Mm-hmm. As well, you know, a lot of people have bought bundles already. I mean, if I've got this hero already as part of my StarCraft bundle or Diablo bundle, I'm not going to buy this other bundle just for a skin. So, I mean, to me, it's a curious. I would think that they would have tested this after a White, when everybody's dollar value resets, and see then what people's buying patterns are at that point. Mm-hmm. It's still, nothing has blown me away enough that I would actually get a skin. Although I have seen some pictures out there about a Sergeant Hammer kind of World War II tank skin.
Oh, that would be cool.
And then that's the closest one that's gotten me. It's, you know, it's the closest seducer yet. But I think there's some bundle combination out there that they're going to have to come up with before I drop real cash.
You know what's interesting, because I was thinking the same thing where I was like, you know what, they need to give you a wipe and you get your battle net balance, and then they see who purchases it. But that money, because it's considering it's giving it back as a battle.net balance, not as actual money, it's already spent money. People are going to get the bundle, whatever bundle's available, no matter what at that point. It's almost like they want to have people spend real non-already spent money on the bundles to see if they work.
That's a good point. It's a very good point.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same way you were thinking up until probably like a minute ago, and then I'm like, I heard you say it out loud, and I'm like, man, there's a whole nother point to this.
Well, that kind of messes up their whole ability to test it at all in the future, really, at least for the players that have been in there. I mean, maybe they're taking a look I've heard about a lot of people getting invites recently. Maybe they're taking a look at those people and seeing what their purchasing patterns are. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
Because they're coming in fresh and new. So
that's the
only thing I can think of.
Yeah, that's for sure probably the best option. Okay, so we have a little bit of gameplay and design. Snowballing effects. So, you know, the big thing, we called it here, I think over a month ago, easy, where Cursed Hollow is now going to only get the, when you actually collect the curse, you're not going to be able to have your towers fire, and their health is going to remain at 100%. That I played a couple times now, and I think that was an excellent change. Ben, you played with me. I know you had some thoughts on it, so why don't you kind of take it from there?
Well, one, I mean, we were just a freight train, so, you know, GG. No, I really like that change. That was a very, very much needed change. It made the curse, I mean, when we got the curse, I didn't feel like we automatically won. I felt like we still had to work at the lanes and push them in because the buildings weren't instantly falling over. I still don't feel like we're where we should be with the curse, but it was definitely a great step in the right direction. So,
do you think there's something specific that you think should be seen next to be tested out, or do you just kind of say they need to fix something and you're not sure?
The time of the curse. I don't necessarily maybe think they should cut it in half, but I don't think 60 seconds, or no, it's more than a minute. I don't think it's the right amount of time for the curse.
Mm-hmm. David, Josh, you guys have any thoughts on this?
I haven't got to play Cursed Hollow yet since the change. I mean, I can see it adding, like Ben there said, that once you get the first curse, it's not going to make it feel like you're going to automatically win. I can see that, which is great. because I know being on the opposite end of that, after not getting that first curse, you're like, great, we're going to lose. But like I said, I haven't got to play it yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it feels once you get in there.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to play it yet either. I mean, this was always a map I had a lot of problems with because of this fact that it just snowballs too fast. I'm glad that they're looking at ways to make the game competitive longer, which I guess probably leads into the next point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the longer the game, the higher level you can get now. So it's now, rather than capping at 25, you cap at 30. I still haven't gotten to a match that's lasted longer than 20, 21, 22 at the most. Even before this, have you guys seen a lot of games get to 25?
Not a lot.
I have.
Just a couple for me.
I've seen quite a number of games get to 25, where both teams have 25 each. And I'm a little curious. I mean, this is actually something I've been wanting for a long time. I always felt that the 25 cap was a little too low. And I'm wondering if this actually makes, some of the talents like Path of the Warrior, Path of the Assassin and such that scale up with you more viable, if that's part of this. Because to be honest, I wanted this, but this came out of kind of nowhere. I wasn't expecting this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen too many, but like you said, that inherently makes those level 1 talents where you are gaining stuff from level, better, but you have to get to that point in the game. So I think people now, I wonder if knowing that you can get to a higher level, if people might slow their game down a little bit and be like, okay, let's try a little bit more of a leveling time where we're spread out, getting more XP.
Or even drive you to get talents like the Mule talent, things like that will extend the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you know that if you can get the lead, you can eventually get higher and higher level. Mount speed increase, so that way it doesn't go up during as you level, but just a straight 40% mounts. I like that. You're going to be moving the same speed the whole match. I don't think there's a need for it to level up with you. I think just a straight increase is just as good.
I personally didn't even know it sped up with you when you leveled. It felt the same to me.
I kind of felt it. I mean, I also spend a lot of time running between Merc camps as Gazlo, so I think I could actually feel it a little more than, say, someone who just does a lot in the same lane. So that might be, for me, why it was a significant difference for me, because I could feel it early game. I wasn't, dragging myself between them as I needed to.
Might also be psychological. Later on in the game, if you die, it's such a you're in such a rush to get back that maybe it just didn't feel like you were any faster.
Yep, true.
One weird thing that I saw, and I forget who was complaining about it, was if you did used an ability, you'd stop auto attacking, and they've cleared that up on most of the abilities. So now when you use an ability, you're going to auto attack afterwards, which I think it was just a bug before. I don't think it was deliberate gameplay. Ben, have you noticed anything with that, or did you notice it beforehand?
Not really. I don't really have a big comment on that, honestly.
Yeah. At this point, I feel some of these are just quick little hits, and
yeah,
it's weird because some of them, I'm someone was complaining about it, and I was like, I don't think that's not much of a problem, but they went and fixed it. So, we'll kind of go back into the rest of the battleground changes real quick, and then we'll jump into heroes. So Dragonshire, the Dragon Knights can be stronger as the game increases. I think that's probably they were seeing Dragonshire games go a little bit longer than they wanted, because I noticed that would be the one that would last long, because you could effectively, keep that Dragon Knight out until late game, and then it really didn't matter much because everyone was so powerful at that point. So I see that change being good for the length of the game. To stop it from lasting too long. And then Haunted Mines, there have been layout changes. You have 2 watchtowers added. You can attack the knights from the top and the bottom, where before you couldn't. And the siege giants are just a little bit off. They're not straight up and down. They're kind of at an angle now. So they've really redesigned that entire map. Have you guys played any Haunted Mines yet?
Yes, and I don't like it. I kind of like the old setup better. The main reason is, at least the game I was in, there's a little kind of weird gap where your first level of turrets are,
Mm-hmm.
that certain heroes can basically go there and just like they're actually behind the lane. They're actually on the other team's side,
Yep.
and they can start nailing the stuff down. I saw a Murky basically take down the whole first step doing that. I'm sure a hammer could, and you're out of view as well. So unless you're, especially because once everybody goes down to the mines, you're not really paying attention. That to me, that seems like an awfully big kind of gap for someone to essentially be behind your lines and do. And it's not really requiring even stealth or anything. And there's nothing on your side defending.
Mm-hmm. No, I did that 100%. I was showing Ben. I'm like, Ben, look at what I can do. I was going behind the enemy lines and throwing the puffer fish and just going and then coming back to the lane and going throwing the puffer fish to wear out their back end turrets and then eventually their fort before you even got through the first set of lines. I like it because I thought it was kind of a fun, interesting gameplay that you have to pay attention to your back line as well. You're not focused on that front line of turrets, but I can see where it'd be a little frustrating, for sure. What I found interesting too is the other change in Haunted Mines is skeletons and the golem no longer auto acquire you. You have to engage them first. So when I do my Gazlowe and I run down and rush the golem, I no longer get dismounted, so I can actually get there a little bit quicker. So I think that is the only thing that really increases or changes in the game is if you're trying to rush the golem, you no longer get dismounted on your way. I mean, it's nice but that also means the enemy is able to just get there and get to you if you've rushed it. So it's an interesting change. Whether I like it or not, I don't know. I haven't played Gazlowe since the change, but that's the first thing that kind of caught me early on. So now we're going to get into kind of the brunt of the patches. Now there's a lot of information, and we're probably we're gonna hit each hero that's had a change kind of pretty quickly. I know there's some heroes that we haven't played too much, but we might have played against. So if you guys want, just make sure you just jump on in and let me know what you think of it. I feel we'll just start right off from with Abathur. It looks like he got a little bit of a nerf early game, but then late game he's going to be a little bit stronger. I felt that in a game this past couple days because I felt like Abathur at the beginning of the game wasn't really doing much, and then he was hitting me really hard later on. Any of you guys kind of play up against an Abathur? I don't think any of you guys play Abathur regularly, right?
No, I don't. I played with one earlier. He was a pretty good Abathur player. He wasn't bad. So I mean, cool. I guess that's really all I got to say about it. You can try to balance Abathur all day and night, but bottom line is he's a difficult hero to play because of the type and what he does. So it's either a good player is going to play him and he's going to be awesome, or someone who doesn't know how to play him is going to play him and they're going to suck. So.
Yeah, I mean, from looking at it, I mean, obviously what they're just trying to do is nerf him a little bit at early levels and then make him stronger later, which matches up to what I've seen. He feels like a little bit of a pop gun later on in the game. At least he did before, and now I'm sure he's strong and powerful.
Yeah. So, actually, we didn't talk about it a little earlier, but, there was the Q&A, which basically was like a pre-patch question and answer that they kind of just got us ready for it. And then when they first mentioned there was major reworks, I think somebody on our podcast called in and said it was going to be Illidan. But then also we mentioned Arthas and Tyrael, so it seems like all three of them kind of got their changes made. Arthas, got what it looks like to be a giant amount of changes. Josh, I know you've played Arthas a bit. What do you think of the changes they've made to him?
I like it better than he was. There's some tweaks, of course, they can do to it, but I mean, them adding the Death Coil there, taking out Frost Strike and adding Death Coil makes him feel more like the Death Knight that we all know. And what that can do, you can hit enemies for damage, or you can cast it on yourself to heal you, which is what Death Coil used to do. I know they had it in Warcraft 3, and then also World of Warcraft, I believe they used to have. I haven't played my Death Knight forever, but they used to have it where you can cast it and you can heal undead minions, but this one doesn't let you, of course, do that because there's no undead minions. Then they also improved their Sundagosa as well, which is I've been picking a lot more now because the cooldown's been reduced to 90 seconds, and the search width is increased from 5 to 8, and damage gain per level is increased from 10 to 15, which is a big increase from before. People picked her before as more of like, as a crowd control function, but I think people would pick her now because she can put out that damage a little bit better. And plus, I think they redid his model or animations too, because he looks a lot better than before. So overall, I'm excited. I'm happy with where they're going with Arthas as to where he was before, because he was not the Lich King that we fought in Icecrown. He was a wuss before.
Now, just so people know, Death Coil came, so it's going to be its Q, opposed to being Frost Strike, which is completely removed from the game, which gave a couple new talents in the game, because, with the new ability, new talents. The Cinder Ghost change, I think the best thing about that is it really brought it more in line with Army of the Dead. I saw a lot of people going with Army of the Dead. It wasn't really like a choice, I feel. I feel everyone went with Army of the Dead. Cinder Ghost, maybe if you wanted to be able to, attack towers a little better, because she does freeze the towers, if I remember right. So I like that change. It kind of actually made the heroic abilities competitive, where before that, I think Army of the Dead was just the correct choice, and I don't think they want there to be a correct choice. They want there to be a choice based on what you want to do in the match, not just, I'm playing Arthas, I take this.
Yep, and then putting them both on the same amount of cooldown, you're not going to get Army of the Dead sooner or anything like that, because Army of the Dead used to be 80-second cooldown. Now it's up to 90 seconds with Cinder Ghost. So that'd be a 20-second delay in between using your ultimates, to where that's not an issue anymore to determine how much you're going to use your ultimate.
Mm-hmm. Now, Brightwing was our next hero. I think it's kind of just a restructuring of damage. Base damage was reduced, but the increase per level was increased, so they wanted to scale a little better. Damage bonus for Arcane Precision. The talent has also been reduced. Any Brightwing players around?
I hate Brightwing, if that helps. I'm pretty happy that this got done. I always felt Brightwing was a little bit too much of a damage dealer, considering her healing abilities, and it looks like they've nerfed that a fair amount. Mm-hmm. So I'm all for this. Down with Brightwing.
Down with Brightwing?
Down with Brightwing.
I played her a lot when she first came out, and that's one thing I said on one of our first shows when she came out, is that her damage is kind of high. So I'm glad that they're working on that.
Mm-hmm. Next up, Diablo. I played a lot of Diablo, and the changes I feel that they made to Diablo's Fire Stomp was 100% needed, because I really felt that it wasn't as strong as it should be. So now, rather than having a talent to pierce, it automatically does. So it shoots the fire out, and it hits whoever's around you. So there's no hiding behind minions to get out of the Fire Stomp. Also, its base range has been increased by 30%. So it's more AoE. I think Diablo need a little more damage, and mix that now with the fact that you can do the pierce and the fact that it returns. I think that puts Diablo in a much better position in terms of dealing some damage, especially when he gets surrounded by enemies.
I have no disagreement with that.
You have no disagreement.
I played against him more this patch, on par with it. I mean, it's exactly where it should have been the whole time. That ability just kind of felt really kind of weak, and like I needed to press it just to get damage out, but now I actually feel like it kind of does what it's intended to do. So,
Falstad, very simple change. When he flies, you know where he's flying to, and every player knows it. I don't know if I really like that. I don't know why the enemy needs to know where he's flying to.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, they don't need to.
I was playing against one today, and I lost a little bit of the flavor, to be honest, because I was like, oh, Falstad's coming. I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go back to my turret. Like, it kind of really puts the whole, surprise from above idea out.
Yeah, it takes that away, and if you think about it, it's actually, I think it's a kind of a big nerf to him, because if he's going to fly in, say, during Cursed Hollow, you see that, circle show up, you put all your AoE, anything that has a timed effect to it. You know, Gazlo's Explodium Charge, the pufferfish from Murky, you throw it right on there, and then by the time he lands, he's going to get hit by it. It really weakens him a lot.
I wonder if it brings it in line with ETC's thing, where like he shows up out of nowhere. Because I think there's a pretty big notification for that.
Yeah, but
big old circle.
ETC's does damage and is a heroic ability, where Falstad's is just his movement. He doesn't actually get to mount. That's what he gets to do. So it doesn't deal damage when he lands. So that's what, you know, ETC's, it's like any other damaging ability. You have a split second to get out of its way. So that's my big, you know, why I don't think that those two are equal.
I guess Falstad does a whole like, I'm landing here.
He's like, watch out.
Watch out below.
I'm coming.
And now my favorite character in the entire game, Gazlo, can now clear minion camps faster.
I thought we were going to skip Gazlo because no one likes him.
We are
No
not.
one here play Gazlo.
You know, the Death Laser, I don't really use that too much in terms of clearing camps. That's more for, you know, when you're actually playing kind of a laning Gazlo. So I can see where that'd be a bonus, you know, an extra stage where it deals another amount of damage. But the Explodium Charge at first level, that is going to help clear camps quicker because, you know, when you finally get the ability to one-on-one the night camps, it's going to now deal an extra 100% damage because there's going to be 4 creatures inside there. That's going to like speed up the clearing of those night camps like significantly, and I already thought it was pretty quick. So watch out.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam. And again, I never actually get to see you play Gazlo since you're always clearing camps and I'm off fighting people. For Death Laser, that's the one where he charges up, right? It takes him a few seconds to charge up, and the longer you charge, the more powerful it is.
Yeah. So there's 3 phases, and as you wait, the damage goes up, and the distance it travels goes up. So, you know, stage 1, it's a little bit of damage, real thin, and then it goes up and up. And now, once it hits its max range, it has another step when you take the talent where it'll do more damage. And it's an additional 50% damage is a decent amount. That's really, I think, to help him survive and actually deal out damage to enemies that are, you know, in the area. So that's why I think it's more of a laning talent, staying in the lane and going head-to-head with other enemies. With other
Yeah, it's kind of a companion to the Sergeant Hammer's Big Bullet thing.
Yes.
BFG ability. It's kind of very similar to it.
Right.
It's the phasers to the other one's photon torpedo.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it'll be interesting. Now we can move on right to Illidan. He got the biggest change. I know, Josh, you played a lot of Illidan at one point. I don't know lately what your Illidan play has been like. What do you Ben? What do you guys think of the changes to Illidan?
Well, I haven't played him since this. I played against him, and he seems a lot faster. As I would say, I know that's what they were going for. If you read, I forget where they stated that, but that's the only thing I really noticed is he's a lot faster, and he seems stronger to me. But maybe that's just me because I've been playing Murky.
No, I would agree. He definitely feels stronger. I actually played him a couple times today just because I knew there was these big changes. I wanted to be able to kind of talk about it a little bit. I like the fact that you don't have to manage the mark of Azzinoth anymore. I thought that was a little clunky before because you had to be like, okay, it's on him, so I need to center my attacks on him. I thought it was pretty cool because you had to like choose who you were centering on, but it didn't always quite work the way I wanted it to, and I think that's what happened with Blizzard. They were like, you know what? Let's just get rid of that. The fact that the Q, the dive ability, isn't, you don't aim it anymore. What you do is you actually cast it on a player. Improves that ability a ton because you're not hitting minions accidentally. You're aiming and hitting that player, which is a big increase. And then the new talents that go along with it are just a lot of fun. Like it really has that, like, you jump over them with Q, and then you sweeping strike to actually go through them again. And if you pick the right talents, you can sweeping strike back. And your auto attacks now automatically bring down your cooldown of your basic abilities by 1 second. So you're actually just, you're doing a lot more jumping around, like they said. Ben, have you had any experience fighting Illidan at all?
Man, the one Illidan experience I've had since this patch was when you and I were playing earlier, and you were Illidan, and it was Illidan versus Illidan, and you were both just jumping over me like acrobats the whole time, and I'm sitting there trying to stun the other guy for you, and he just keeps flipping, and I'm like, this is getting ridiculous. So, it's the only experience I have. He's a lot more agile now, which is good because it kind of matches him. I haven't played him yet. And I haven't seen enough of him played yet to really make a full opinion, but very, very fast. So,
and his new evasion, it's really, they're all really new abilities, because it's like his evasion makes it so he can, evade all basic attacks for the next 2 seconds, which really works awesomely. Like, you get like when you go up against another Illidan, you pop that, he does his abilities, and you're able to just make it like at a standstill for a little bit of ninjas jumping around.
That's exactly how it was when we were playing earlier.
And what's cool is now he actually has level 20 towns for his abilities, like every other hero in the game. Before he didn't have any. And now you can do with Metamorphosis, you can actually stay in your demon form until you die, which is pretty awesome. I haven't tried it out yet, but the idea of that you just pop in, you're in demon form until whenever at level 20. The one big thing is when you pop the demon form, you kind of get that health boost. So you're not going to get that just by staying in it. I think you have a bigger health pool, but you have to go, heal up and be a little more tactical, because you don't want to drop out of that demon form if you can help it. And the cooldown on it's pretty nasty. And then the hunt, it just becomes a global range ability to charge anybody anywhere on the map, and you move super quick when you click on it as well. So like you don't even need, like, you have the option to take teleport at level 20, and I feel like that is pretty much a teleport spell on its own, because with the 60-second cooldown, if you were to die, you can just get back in, because your death timer is late game, or somewhere between 45 and 60 seconds anyways.
Yeah, this feels really, really powerful. I know the few times I've played Illidan, I have used this as my level 20, and it's kind of like every 60 seconds you get to kill someone. Because if you're good enough, and like if there's any type of team fights going on, someone's low on health. And so for you to just be able to spot it, I mean, it takes some map awareness, but like anyone should be able to do it. So it's essentially a kill someone every 60 seconds now.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I was using it with Ben, and I'm like, Ben, I need to find somebody to attack right now. It's up. I need to kill somebody right now. And
he'd be like, pick a target, and I'd be like, all right, Brightwing, she's pissing me off. Go kill her.
Yeah, so it went really well. Let's see. Next we have Lily. Lily can finally heal herself, guys. Like,
yay!
Ben, you don't seem too. Lily now can be in a lane on her own and be somewhat effective. I think that's what it does, really. She can heal herself. That's the one thing I thought she was missing before.
Anytime I see Lily in a lane against me, I just have this urge to punt Lily across the map, but I can't do that unless I'm the dragon. So,
Panda hate.
I know.
Everyone got it. Lily's the Sansa Stark of not really. I don't know what she's doing, and I don't really care.
Wow. Yeah, the Cloud Serpent kind of got, like, I think just a balance change, I'll say. It wasn't quite a nerf, wasn't quite a buff. The casting time's reduced, the mana cost is reduced, but it deals less damage and the duration is less. So you can't have, at this point, you actually can't have 2 out at a time with the Timeless Creature talent. Before, you could actually have 2 Cloud Serpents on people, which is pretty cool. Blinding Wind no longer has a cast time. I love that. And Water Dragon, even though it slows enemies and has a bigger radius, it does less damage. So I think this kind of is, when you're looking at the supports there, they're definitely removing the damage but keeping the utility in terms of what their ultimates and what all their abilities really can do. It's more about the utility at this point, and I think they realized that support was probably putting out too much damage, because you saw that same change with Brightwing.
Yeah.
And wow, there's just so many heroes going on. It's crazy. I'm like,
That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm like, next time, I'm thinking maybe we'll kind of cut it in half for 2 episodes if they ever have a big big change like this. It might give us a little more time to kind of play around with them and actually see the changes. I think. Is there any other heroes that you guys specifically would like to talk about today? Because I'm thinking maybe we'll cut it here. I think this is about the halfway mark in terms of heroes. We'll cut it here and then kind of go over some more hero changes next week. What do you guys think of that?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about someone else.
Yeah. So next week we'll kind of pick up from here. It'll give us a little more play time. If we kind of have anything about the people we've gone over before, we'll do that. But I think a little more playtime will do us good in terms of some of these other changes, because I think we're going to get into points where, we need to, actually play them. Any final patch? Anything I missed on the patch you guys just wanted to get out today, Ben?
I mean, not really. I just overall, I'm glad they're pushing huge changes like this in the alpha. Very, very much needed. Minus some of the sound stuff. I mean, a lot of the sound stuff was good, minus the announcer. I'm not happy with the announcer, but that's just me personally. I like to be immersed inside of arena when I'm playing an arena style game, and I don't feel like the announcer's cutting it. I don't like the new dragon voice either. I think it's weaker than it used to be. Other than that, we're moving in the right direction, and it's shaping up to be when she goes into beta, it's going to be a good beta. So.
David, any last patch note info that you wanted to say before we move on?
No, really, to be honest, most of the heroes I play a lot we're putting off till next week, so I'll save that for them for next week. I mean, I like the fact that they're looking at it. I mean, I think what this kind of reveals is that we're in beta, right? Like, this is not technical alpha.
Yeah,
don't tell me
balance changes are more of a beta thing, I feel like.
Changes, voiceovers. I mean,
new
I think
interface.
alpha is the new beta, and
it's funny you say that. You should go watch the Rob Pardo segment from him at MIT, and he specifically talked about their philosophy on alphas and betas.
how they kind of moving one to the other kind of thing. Or?
How they talk about how they changed the definition of what an alpha and a beta is, as opposed to every other company that does this, and how alpha is more so they're ready for their company wide to test it, not necessarily the public. So this is kind of breaking the mold on that, even so.
Yeah, that's how it feels. I mean, I don't see the difference between this and a beta test at this point. So, Not that that's a bad thing.
Maybe there'll be something big for when the beta comes out. They'll finally give us something for being in the alpha. Josh, any final patch notes until next week? Thoughts?
None right now. I mean, we covered a good amount of them today.
Yeah.
So I think we can let the listeners be on the edge of their seat waiting for next week for the rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stay tuned for next week's continuation of the patch notes.
Patch part 2.
Okay, so we are going to jump into our hero spotlight this week.
This is the Hero Spotlight.
And this week, like we said before, it is Murky Week, which means we are going to be talking about the baby Murloc himself, Murky. David, do you have any story about Murky? Anything about him, lore-wise?
Yes, I do, Adam. I have a long story about Murky. Murky was a young Murloc trying to find his way in the world in his small village until they came. They came looking for scales, looking for teeth, looking for Murloc eyeballs. He didn't know where they came from, but they were certainly outsiders. They slaughtered his family. They killed his people. He huddled, and he watched, and he took down their names. And after training in the ways of the world and death, every night he did a prayer saying their names. Wolf Wartooth, Xantar, Staxenpack, Wanso, Grillin. All these people had come to his village, killing Murlocs over and over again. And now he swears vengeance. He will take them. He'll swear to the drowned god, for he who is dead shall never die. Murky, coming for you.
Bravo!
Oh man, so Murky.
Novelization just come out.
Murky is a specialist hero, so really focuses on something outside of your normal game. The tower destruction, the minions, mercenary camps. His special ability is Spawn Egg, where he places a Murloc egg at a target location, revealing the nearby area. And if Murky dies, Murky will respawn in 5 seconds from the egg. Man, how it is important to place your eggs somewhere that they may not be looking, and be creative. Like if there's a little hedge maze, putting it in the hedge maze actually works pretty well. Just really think before you put it down. If you put it out somewhere that's too obvious, they're gonna kill it, and then you'll forget, and then you'll die. And if you die, it hurts.
You know where a great spot to put it is?
Where?
At least in Dragonshire, like right at the bottom, next to the Merc camps. I had that thing there the whole game. I basically laned that entire lane the whole game. And
wow.
They're actually attacking the Mercs. They're in that bottom part. No one thought to look there. So it was I don't know why they did, because I was showing up 3 seconds later every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trying to make it so that way it blends in with the surroundings works too, I actually put one into their base. The first time, I was able to respawn 4 times in their base without them getting it. The second time I did it when I was playing with Ben, they got me after 1 respawn. But it was so much fun because then they're like, where is he coming from?
Well, you were smart at first, because the first time you popped out of the egg, you waited and you didn't go in right away, and so they were like, okay, well it took him a little bit of time to get here, so he can't be nearby. And then the second time, you just instantly gunned it.
Yep, and they're like, well, get him now. Ha ha ha. Yeah, so that's his spawn egg ability.
Josh,
I was getting there.
He was letting it settle. He was like, spawn egg is super important.
The spawn egg is the key to playing Murky. Another thing he has is slime, which he releases a slimy fish oil and a fart nearby enemies, dealing damage and applying slime. Slime does damage every second and slows enemies by 20% for 8 seconds. New application of a slime will refresh the duration and stack the damage.
Mm-hmm. Man, if you keep this coming up, and I find you can get these stacks pretty high, lots of damage out on the enemy. You're almost able to one-on-one somebody if you can get these stacks timed properly. It's actually pretty cool. I like this ability.
Is pufferfish launches a pufferfish at the target point. After 5 seconds, the fish will blow up, dealing 4 times damage to structures. Enemies can attack the fish to destroy it and prevent it from exploding. The simple fact that he doesn't have mana makes this skill broken. You just sit there and just keep lobbing it at structures from being hidden, and just completely backdoor somebody. I mean, it's a great piece to him that makes him work. Especially if the other team is not simply paying attention at all. Your entire fort and towers behind you are just going to disappear if you're not watching.
You know what also makes this broken is the range of it. The range is way too high on this ability. I mean, I'm sitting there outside the palace, throwing these fish on the palace, killing it, and it's not even targeting me. I feel like the range is a little too much for pufferfish. But if that wasn't enough to make him infuriating, he's also got safety bubble. So when you do finally notice him and need to kill him, Murky becomes unstoppable and invulnerable for 2 seconds. While active, Murky can neither attack nor use abilities.
Mm-hmm. And like every other hero, he has 2 heroic abilities. One is Octograb. Summon an octopus to stun target enemy for 3.0 seconds, 0.6 seconds, which is a very weird amount of time. I probably had a typo there. And while he pokes him for damage. I don't know. I thought that's what it said, but maybe I'm just crazy and put a 6 instead of another 0. The other one is March of the Murlocs. Murky commands a legion of Murlocs to charge into target direction, each one leaping onto the first enemy or structure they find. Each deals damage and slows the target for 5 seconds. I tried Octograb once. I didn't really like it. In terms of between the two, March of the Murlocs, dude, that thing is amazing. At high level, especially once you get the level 20 talent, it can burn through that palace super quick. No joke. Now, David, obviously I've been playing a little bit of Murky. What are your favorite kind of talents, strats to do with him at this point?
Okay, well, I haven't. For some reason, I keep calling it the Octomom talent, but that's probably not right. I wanted to really try it because I think it's like totally thematically my favorite, but I actually haven't tried it. I always go with March of the Murlocs. An amazing talent, total like lane domination. I really like the fact that it's not just like damage like the frogs for Witch Doctor, that they actually kind of cling to the other enemies and then pound on them. It looks great. So far, essentially, what I've been doing, it took me a couple of times to realize that, yeah, dying's fine. It's okay to run in. It's been a lot of slime involved, a lot of pufferfish going after structures. I tried playing around with the March of the Murlocs and the pufferfish to try and get mercs down. Doesn't work. Not a great merc gaining, at least when I was playing them. But it really is a lot of fun to play. A little demented, honestly, like in terms of the play style, because you're doing everything that they tell you not to do in a MOBA. Essentially, you're just rushing in, dying, like showing no caution to the wind. I hope. On the other hand, I didn't really feel like I was playing Heroes of the Storm when I was playing him. And my only concern, especially this early in the game, is this is really annoying to play against. I was going against another Murky, and man, it's driving me absolutely crazy. And I just don't want them, to suffer from the fact that they've added something to the game that's just really annoying to play against.
You know what I think it is? It almost adds another level of awareness that other MOBAs don't have. You have to watch those back turrets. You can't just worry about your front line. I think it's a nice change. If you know Murky's out there, you want to hunt that egg before trying to kill him. You need to get out there and find him. I know a lot of the time I was taking the two talents, the one that slimes when you die and the one that pufferfishes when you die, and just running it into turrets and throwing out everything I could just to take a down turret as quick as possible. And then when I died, it got poisoned and I got another pufferfish on it. The negative to that is if you're playing somebody who is right up there with you, they can take out that pufferfish in no time and basically negate you at that point. So I think you really need to see how your enemy is playing in order to decide what way to build yourself. Because if they're taking out those pufferfish really quickly, you need to be more of like a slime and attack that way against the enemy and to kind of dwindle them down over time. Ben, I know yesterday you were talking about on Twitter or whatever that you had a really good match where you kind of were able to just like go hunting for eggs. How'd that go?
I was pretty well. It was probably, I don't know if it was my first or my second match against Murky. And, I watched, all the stuff at PAX. I knew what he was going to be when he came out. So I was just like, dude's going to be annoying. I need to take care of this. So while maintaining a lane presence, any chance I could, I was always trying to be mindful of where he was coming from. And I was roaming the map constantly, popping his eggs. Every time he threw down an egg, I would find it and I'd pop it. And then I'd run up to him and kill him. So I was on his tail the entire time, just trying to prevent him from doing anything possible. I think once we see a little bit more balance on him going through the alpha and the beta stages and we actually get ranked, if banning is going to be a part of ranked, I can see him as being a hero that's always going to get banned.
Really? You think
Yeah.
all the time? Ban?
Depending on how the balance goes. Because, the simple fact, he can easily do so much devastation to turrets and forts without taking any type of risk involved. I definitely see him being someone that's going to be banned pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. No, do you think, I guess, yeah, Ben, do you think he's going to get a nerf, honestly? Do you think he's a little too powerful in terms of general play where he can't be banned?
I think Puffer is a little bit probably too strong, as we're talking about in chat. I think Puffer might get a little bit of a nerf.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Josh? What are your thoughts on Murky?
I'm loving him. I have been. One last match we played against Murky. I was Murky as well, and that Murky did exactly that. He pushed down the lane. No one was paying attention to him. Was able to get to our core. he didn't be able to take it down because I caught it in time, and so we were able to guard it. But that's another thing that I don't remember hearing is that he does more damage against structures. Correct?
Yeah, the pufferfish does 4 times damage.
Yeah, and so
you can then give that so it does 4 times damage to everything.
The Wrath of Cod.
Yeah, the Wrath of
Cod. And so with that, it was on Blackheart is what we were playing. Then the chest spawn, and so everyone ran for the chest except for me. I pushed up the bottom lane and managed to get their core down super fast with just me, my mass Murlocs, and throwing my pufferfish at it and just keep attacking with the minions. And I took it down in no time, just me alone. Mm-hmm. And so I won the game for us.
Yeah, when I was playing him with Ben before the show, one of the big things that was happening was they were sending 3 or 4 enemies at me to try to stop me from doing whatever I was doing, and that didn't work. Like, you only have to send one person after Murky because you're gonna kill him no matter who you are. You need to send one person after him, and the other person may be looking for his egg, because otherwise it's just gonna keep coming at you. It was nice because it was almost like a diversionary tactic where it's like, hey, yeah, go after Murky while everybody else is doing their thing and taking over the lanes.
I think it was also, they were getting pretty irritated that, I mean, granted it's Murky and you're supposed to die, that an Uther was healing you every time they would engage you.
Yep, you get that 1 heal from Uther and you're full health. It was the most ridiculous thing ever.
Plus your E, right? I mean, and then that's kind of your, that's like the greatest, like, GTFO ability in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for a character that's supposed to die.
See, I don't use it as a GTFO. I use it as a get the F in, where I GTFI. So I use it in order to get in and be able to cast things. Or one thing that I've used it a lot for is if I'm about to die, I'll pop it so that way my slime will come off cooldown. So that way I can slime the people one more time before I die. So what'll happen is I'll slime them. I'll be about to die and I'll bubble. Then I'll come out of the bubble and I'll slime. So that's 2 stacks of the slime. And then when you die, you release another stack onto them, so they end up with 3 stacks of the slime. So they're going to lose about 1/3 to 1/2 of their life before you get back to them. So that's what I've been kind of using it for. So it's worked too. I mean, that's when I've tried to build him into more of a damage role against enemies, that's been my most successful way of doing it.
I will make a prediction. I think he will be nerfed. I think he will be nerfed hard to the point where I don't think he's going to be played that much. I think this is a really cool, like, oh, wow, look at this. This is very different. We've got this type of hero. It's very cool. Look, we're doing something nobody else does. But I think he's just too chaotic, and it's great and it's fun. But either they're going to institute bans, in which case he'll be out, or they're going to nerf him to the point where he'll still be in the game. They can still say, hey, look at this cool hero. We're doing something different. But I think I really feel like I'm playing a different game when he's in the game. Mm-hmm. And in a game that's already very chaotic compared to other MOBAs, I think it feels a little too much.
Yeah. And you have to have somebody on Murky duty, which basically means you're taking out their Murky by taking out one of your players out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was one-on-one-ing people when I was playing. There was a Tyrande I killed 5 times just by running into her. Like, it wasn't like great skill moves or anything like that either. Essentially, I just found the right place to hide the egg and just wore her down.
Mm-hmm. But she also has to be. The thing is, people are gonna get smarter. They're gonna know that they have to go looking for the egg. That they're gonna know. Oh, I just have to attack the pufferfish twice and it doesn't deal damage. Once people start picking it up, I think we're gonna see less of the chaos, and I think they're not gonna nerf until that point.
What do you think about taking heroes like this that are way out of the, and maybe and if they ever do anything with Aperture to make them kind of, very powerful as well, taking them out of the free rotation?
I think that's not a bad idea. With Abathur, if you put it when he's in the free rotation, you get so many people playing him, people who don't know how to play him, that it really hurts your chance of winning in a random group. So I wouldn't be against it.
Like you're actually taking and saying, okay, these guys are 2,000, these guys are 5,500, these guys are 10,000, and then these guys are 10,000, and you got to buy them, but you're never going to see them. Like it's a different level.
I'd be okay with that. Ben, what do you think?
I can see that. I mean, it's the one problem I have with like the free rotation. It's just like it's kind of flooded. But yeah, I don't really have any problems with that.
And of course, this week we're seeing a lot of Murky. I think that's going to calm down in the next week or two. People are going to go back to the heroes they play normally. And
Unless he's free next week.
That's what I'm terrified of. And it's like Murlocs everywhere.
I don't think they'll give them free the second week. I guess, I don't know.
They did Brightwing.
If it's technical alpha, I guess it might happen because they want to test them and they want people to play them. I think once the game releases, new heroes won't be free for probably a couple of weeks after they're released, because then that's like kind of spin the fizz people who either purchase them with real money or just having the gold ready to buy them, you know? It's like, you bought them.
If he's free, man, he's going to be all over. You'll be Octomoms all over the place.
The funny thing is you like the Octomom for the Octograb, and I'm like, man, no, it's more like the March of the Murlocs is more like the Octomom.
So that's after the Octomom.
Okay, any final thoughts on Murky? Anybody? Yeah, it's your fault he's like this, Dave, and Ben, and Josh.
That's right. It's all of our fault. We should
Because it was totally
lie there.
Totally our idea to put in the fart sounds.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, the worst part about him is he's screwing up my play with other heroes now. Because it's like you play him for 5 games in a row, and it's like, yeah, Murky charge, and then I'm like, oh, Kerrigan charge. Oh, no.
You're like, oh, Kerrigan really dies.
Oh yeah, oh, this is for real now, you know.
Okay, well, I think that's going to do it for our show this week. We did run a little bit longer than normal, but we were expecting that. Ben, where can people get a hold of you? Where can they listen to you in other shows? Why don't you kind of spout out all your information?
You can get a hold of me on Twitter at Stacks and Packs. It's STAKSNPAKS. Mostly on there. Just get a hold of me and throw me a message or talk, whatever. If you're in the Heroes Alpha, throw me a message and I'll give you my battle tag and we can hit up, play some games. Trying to get another podcast off the ground just about the gaming industry at obj1.net. Other than that, that's pretty much it.
Okay. And David, what about you? Where can people get a hold of you?
You can catch me on Twitter at BerlanCTR. That's Berlan with 2 L's, 2 A's. You can also spot me sometimes streaming with Salad Senate on Twitch, setting things on fire in the Siege of Orgrimmar. You can catch me there a little bit. As well, I'm going to start streaming myself pretty soon. Maybe do some Murky streaming myself and to show them off a little bit. So that channel should be up maybe even early.
And Josh, last but not least, what have you been up to?
I can be found at Pakawan_AIE. It's spelled PAKKUAN_AIE. I'm also trying to get into streaming, but I haven't had much luck of getting people watching me. But if you want, I'm usually found at twitch.tv /Lieven, LIEVAN 12. You can find me there, or you can talk to me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Usually is the best way to, chat with me and find out what I'm up to.
So you're telling me there was a live in 1 through 11?
Possibly. I just do 1, 2 because it's a numerical order, and I know there's probably a live in 1.
Okay, so for me, you can reach me at Geek of Random on Twitter, and the show directly at the Nexus Podcast. Now, if you have any feedback for us, please send us a message at show@heroesofTheNexus.com. We have one more week in our Nexus tournament the Nexus Ultimate Showdown for the first round of that. So go ahead and come to the site, heroesofthenexus.com, to see where you can go and vote on that. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, please come visit us while we record it live every Friday night at 10 Eastern Time at twitch.tv/heroesofThenexus. I want everyone to have yourselves a great weekend, and we will see you next week. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you in the Nexus.
Drive safe, everybody. Happy birthday, Adam.
Thank you. Happy birthday to you as well, because now it's your birthday. Oh, no, it's not. Half an hour. And then it'll be your
Happy birthday, Ben. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, David. Good night, everyone. Stay gassy.
Stay gassy. Done.
Okay. And stop the recording.
Stopped.
Man.
Woo,
I
that
can't,
was a long one.
so many show notes. There were so many patch notes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was nuts.
I was like, man, I got there and I'm like, man, we've gone to 8 out of 20. And we have some long ones left. I'm like, man, let's just go ahead and cut that and finish it next week because there probably won't be much news next week with all the news this week.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's going to... I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to tell the chat room, but I think that was about it.
I know you can tell them.
What?
We love every single one of you.
Oh, yeah. Even Kale Grimm, who showed up late. Sorry. We'll do it next week. You can come then, too.
We'll do it all over again right now.
Ready?
3, 2, 1, record.
Hello. No.
That's right.
Yeah. So we'll probably be playing a little bit. I'm gonna cut this off now. We will see you guys next week. Thank you again for coming. We appreciate it. And goodbye.
Bye,
Thanks,
chat
everybody.
room.
Good night, guys.